Hello everyone, and welcome to our new series, Watercolor Flowers. This is going to be a 13-week series that goes throughout the summer. The videos will stay on YouTube, and this video is the first one, but it is going to be the sketch, and there will be a separate video for the watercolor painting. We are going to be First of all, I want to tell you there is a free printable like this. It is linked in the description below, so you can use this as a reference, print it out, and look at it and still sketch with me, or you can use this and skip this video and move on to the watercolor video where we paint the flower. The flower we will be doing first is this one. It is a pale pink lily, so we will be sketching that one together today. So our supplies are nice and simple. Since it's a sketching video, we just need a pencil, and I highly recommend a kneaded eraser. The other thing though, I think we should add is a white crayon for the end, because it will help prep us for the watercolor painting, and it will help us not forget, which is the most important reason I'm putting it in this video. So those are our supplies along with watercolor paper. I will be working on a 9" by 12" sketchbook of Canson. I'll show you the front of it real quick. Watercolor paper looks like this, really common one, okay? And you can sketch these, you can use this as a guide and put them exactly where you see them here, and then in the end you'll have it looking like this. I'm actually not going to do that because I would like, you can pick where you want them to go. It might be fun to fit them in your own little puzzle. I'm just going to go somewhere on the paper, and I'll do a few on each sheet together. So that is our supplies for this one, and I think that's good. And we just need, get yourself something to drink. I did make myself a new candle for this series for our watercolor flowers. So get your candle lit. Mine smells like lavender today because that seemed to fit. And we'll get started with our sketch. Okay, let's start with observing, as we always do, and we're only focusing on this pale pink lily for now. These are all tutorials to come. So we're gonna look first at the watercolor painting, and then we'll look at it as a sketch, since we have both of them here as a reference for us. But what I like is that I see that these little, I was gonna research all my words. Stems, a stamen might be a word in here. These all start right here. If you were to picture this being a little circle, they're all coming out and away from that circle, okay? And we know this is like the base of the flower, so you need to picture that as a sort of circular, thing that goes down and comes up, and as it comes up, it kind of is going like this. And I think sometimes these little motions help my brain make sense of it. So you might get that from me now and again, okay? And they're all different shapes, even though probably they're all very similar shape. We're seeing them from a different perspective. We're looking at it from here. So this has got what's called foreshortening happening, but it's just gonna make this one look wider and less tall, right? Because we're seeing it from this angle. If we wanna look for some symmetry, we really do see these ones coming out and away. These ones are the yay, they're doing like the YMCA, but it's a real wide one, And then we've got this one coming up to the top. It comes up and tips to the right a little bit. Don't skip this observation part, you guys. I think it is so helpful to learn to see, to learn to sketch. From here, we have the stem that comes down. It looks like it must be coming just this way, and then you can see it right here. We've got 1, 2, 3 leaves. And then this one is a little offshoot that comes over, and right here, this lovely, tall, skinny oval is the beginning of another lily. But it's just kind of hidden behind there. Like, it's just not important. This is just a wildflower look that you would see, sort of a layered, organic looking situation, and you can go and find a lily. If you have lilies at home, take a picture of one and use yours as a reference as well. From here, let's point out that in the center of each petal, we can see this nice white line. Okay, I'm zooming in for you. And so that's where we're going to be using our white crayon later. You might be tempted to draw that line with your pencil, but don't do it first, because otherwise that white crayon might just sort of end up looking dirty and sort of like lock your pencil marks in. So I would say don't do that first. But basically that's the whole thing. So I would say that's probably good for our observing. We're gonna switch over for a minute to looking at the sketch. Here's the sketch of the same flower. This is sort of a simplified sketch, okay? So don't, it's not gonna have everything in it. Like I can see this looks like it needs to kind of connect a little bit more. You're gonna need to make sense of that a little if you've got this sketch at home. And some of these, need to be rounded out See, the sketch is imperfect, but it's gonna get us there, okay? And all the things we just observed we see here, but it's broken down into the lines that we see, and it takes out that color. So let's use this one as our guide, and I think I will, here, I'll show you what I'm working with. I think I will kind of keep it up in the top left of my page, but I don't want anyone to worry that they're gonna not fit all this in. That's why I don't even wanna prioritize it. I'm not gonna worry about same scale, same anything, just same flower, okay? So here it is, and I wanna find this part, which is where I wanna start from, because that kind of makes sense to me. And we'll kind of keep it here. Let's see how tall this thing is. Let's see. Ooh, how can I even do that? If I take my hands, from my finger, it goes to about here. So it might do the same for you. But it doesn't matter. All we need to do is make sure we have enough space to work around it. So somehow, let's just get that little circle that we started with, okay? And I want to skip the insides for a second and worry about the large petals. Some of you know exactly what I'm about to say, and that is just to press lightly on your pencil, because if you don't, you can't move things, which means you can't freely sketch, and we want to let it start wonky, okay? The first one that I want to do, I think, is this one. It comes up and over, and then it curves and goes to the right. So think like towards the corner of your paper, curve, and then make this one flat. So we're going to try it, and you're going to guess on what size. It's at least 2 of my fingers wide from start to end. Okay, so don't go smaller than that. If you're gonna err on anything when you're painting with watercolors, okay, it's wider than your finger for this part. Nice curve. If you're gonna err on the side of anything, err on the side of larger, because it's more fun to paint with watercolors in larger spaces than it is in smaller spaces, okay? Notice that when it gets to the edge here, it has a nice little curve, but these really are sort of a pointier flower. So don't, cut it too short, okay? But curved at that edge. And it's doing the same thing over here, but it's just covered a bit, but we can draw it. So let's come over first, curve it up into this. Something like this. If you want to also get out a photo on your iPad or something of a pale pink lily, use it, because you'll see more definition and more little lines that you want to grab from it if you have a realistic photo in front of you. I wasn't going to do it this way, but it's funny. I just see it differently each time. Let's do that other one, because we really did notice, like, look, it scoops in, okay, to this, and then scoop it down again for this one. Why don't we use that? We don't want this to be a straight line, but we do see that there is a connection there, okay? But this one scoops up and comes over. This feels wonky right now, and that is okay. It'll feel better soon. Now you can leave these straight lines. You know how sometimes we just find every straight line you can do, and in a minute you can get rid of those. But man, finding straight lines really saves you. Like, look, there's another one here. 1, 2, 3, and that's gonna help you get all those details in. Okay, from here below it, we have this wide one, and then this one over here. Let's try to get the wide one in, because it really is, it's not centered in the way that it's like perfectly up and down, see, but it's going this way, coming out from that center. What if for a minute that's the center of it? So we get direction, and then it's very wide. Now you can look right here at this intersection to try to create, like, just looking at your negative space, okay? Same thing here, except ignore this one, it'll have to come up. Okay, so nice and wide. And nice and wide here. Look at that, we want that nice width. Maybe put a dot where we're going. All of this is light on your pencil, and notice how I'm holding my pencil back here. That's gonna help maybe lighter and looser with my pencil, okay? And then we're gonna curve them over. Meet that little dot. This is a different shape than the rest, so don't worry about it. Don't overthink it too much. Just get it in there. And in a minute, we'll look at this whole thing and we will make adjustments with that kneaded eraser. Keep it handy. Now, I didn't need that full line, so I see they actually, if this is where we went, this petal actually comes here. Creates this little pizza shape, really. So I can start that way. Hold on, let me find you. There we go. And if I look at this shape, that's a really nice clue. Look at what a wide triangle shape it is, and this nice curve here I'm really noticing. This petal does not go quite as far over as this one. I'm using all this for observation. I just brought that one out a little bit. Okay, so it comes in a little, maybe down here. I'm just gonna guess. And we'll use this shape here to curve this petal over and scoops up and out. Here it comes over. Look for every straight line you can find in it. Here's one, and you see, you're gonna get that shape. I've been learning in acrylic too, using a flat brush really helps you accentuate the shapes and you'll get it just better. I really like that. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I say that right? Yeah, but this is funny because we were saying there's symmetry, but really it's those two that have symmetry. So, and then this one's got this one. You can decide where you want to go next, but I'd say let's come this one. We'll just leave, essentially we're leaving this pizza shape here. We're gonna come up, okay, and then over for this guy. So leaving a pizza shape, basically. Isn't that funny? Where do I think it's gonna go? Let's look at it. It's just in a little bit to the right of the end of this one. Okay, and I have another nice sort of pizza shape, but just look at what it is. If I say pizza every time, it's probably not that helpful, but you need to look at what shape you're seeing. And I'm trying to create that first. Then I already came up, one straight line, second straight line, maybe it leans into the third. Now I'm gonna look at this in a minute and I'm going to make adjustments. It's never gonna be perfect the first time, or I could never teach you. I don't know how people do it. But we want to get this next one in now. So we're coming up and I see a little curve. Let's put a dot where we're going. Keep it nice and tall. Notice how wide this whole thing is until you get this big boy in here. Okay, this shape in between is nice and wide. We're going to come about here. Remember, it tips to the right just a hair. Let's throw the center of it in. I think that might help. Comes up, comes to the right. Now that's going to give me some good direction. So I'm going to curve it. It dips in a little, comes to the right. And then this one kind of just comes up with more of a softer curve. Okay, we're close. We're not there, but we're close. Keep light on your pencil, probably lighter than me if you can. And let's put the rest of it in, and then we'll have so many guidelines to use that we'll just be able to clean up the whole thing and be done. And ready for our crayon and then our paint. I'm gonna put the stem right here. Actually, on this one, I'm gonna bring it over. So I would never put it right there. I would always move it to the side a bit. It helps us understand our shape a little bit better, and I just think it's pretty. But because this is slightly different than this one, I think I'll bring it over even more, right? I don't want it too far over though, because I know this guy, we gotta get to him still. So I'm gonna come down at least, I would say the stem is probably as long as the flower. I took a nice line straight down, a little bit of a curve, okay? We're gonna follow alongside of it. This is called an aura, where it just follows that line. You can close this or not, that's up to you. Sometimes I just like to put a little oval. And let's start to get these leaves in so we get scale a little bit. Notice it's a little smaller than the petal. It's gonna cross diagonally. And it's gonna come down and close. Notice this is kind of close right here. So I'm gonna put a little dot where I think it's gonna go, and I'm gonna dip this in, curve it down. My cat is rubbing against my leg and wants me to play fetch. Okay, there's one. I'm gonna stick another one here. And so this is where, if you look at our sketch, if you're not doing these all at once, you'd have a harder time. Like if we sketch this in later on, we can't put that flower on top of it. So if you're going like for the long haul, you can leave a space for this one if you want to. But otherwise, I would say just say make adaptations as you go, and it teaches you how to work within your spaces. So we've got 1 and 2. Now, before we get into this next petal, see this one comes over like this, but it's kind of right at the base of that, and it kind of hides our stem. I want to look at it and make sense of it with what you have, which will not be exactly like either of these. Okay, so I'm thinking that maybe my stem needs to start from here instead so we can see it. So we're prioritizing the bud and the stem. And so let's bring it over like this a little. I think the base, okay, maybe don't curve like that. Do the bottom one. You know, do whatever you like. And then this is an oval that tucks behind. So I need to make sure it's nice and long because it would have to fit these beautiful long petals. And I like it, I think, like this. Pretty good. Isn't that cute? But really, this needs to be coming from the base, from the center of the base. So maybe I turn this a hair. Just want that to line up really nicely. There we go. I'm just putting back in what I erased. I always do it. I always erase more than I need, and that's fine. Okay, let's get rid of the stem behind this leaf. This kneaded eraser doesn't leave shavings, so it's nice in that way. Okay, cute, cute. We have two, 1, 2. We need this one plus this little guy, and then we'll clean up everything. So from here, let's maybe stick it right here. I think that will look nice. And notice it comes over, scoops a little down. This is a big, it's like a curve and a fall. So let's do a curve and a fall. Then look at this. It's almost like the McDonald's arches. Up, and then just a little scoop in. Why did I say that? I don't know. It's what my brain thought in the moment. So here we are. Cute. I think that worked out good. Okay. We need to get all these little centers, and yes, I will look up all the terms for things so that I can do better. I've taught enough classes by now and said the wrong words for things that, like, really I can learn those. Okay, so these are coming out from the center. I'll show it to you on this one again so we can count them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one, which look, it's like a little mushroom top. Isn't that cute? So he's the center. He's like the whole, I'm gonna guess that's where the pollen is, but maybe along with the rest. Someone please teach all of us about lilies, okay? But so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll try to get them in there like this. Nice thin, they're a little bit thinner than our stem. Okay, let's keep it close, and we'll start right here. Think about where you want them, not overlapping too much. So this one's gonna come over a little, and I'm not worrying that I'm exactly like this. I want them to be in a bundle. No symmetry, no straight lines. Okay, 1, and we'll erase what we don't need in a second. I'm gonna put the top of the mushroom guy right here because I do wanna make sure I see him. And then I'll make his stem come right down to that center. So I got 2. I'm going to do the top of this one, then take it down. That would give me 3. Let's give its top 1, 2, 3. That's a little wider than I want. I'm going to just change it. All these little things, if you notice it, do it. Your gut is telling you what you would probably rather see. Isn't that funny? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Let's just put it at tops. 4, 5, and keep 1 down here. I like when they're not all just like in a row. Curved. I think those curves are so lovely. Some of them are going to just be behind. Okay, once again, I'm going to clean up those tops. I want them to be like a nice, lovely, skinny oval. Really a nice curve on the top and the bottom. It's better. Kind of maybe focus on straight sides. A little straighter than I did. I like that one the best. Okay, we're getting there. Now we're going to stop and look. What do you think? What do you see? I see corners. I don't want corners. Okay, so if you haven't printed out the reference, I think you might want it because I know I probably don't always have it on the screen when you want to see it. I get it, but it's there for you. I think you can get prints at your local library too. I think you can get a certain number of black and white, you know, regular paper copies. Okay, this one needs to be in front a little bit. So you see this nice curve. This one comes up and over. That's the bottom of this petal. And I got to figure this part out, so I'm just erasing it. I just can't figure it out until it's there. That's why we say let it start wonky. And then I've got this part here. I like that. That's pretty good. I'll erase this, which I no longer need. So you're looking for stuff you don't want to see later. all right? Anything you don't want to see later, get rid of it now, but leave that sketch. This is sketchy on purpose. I think that's really good. Floral, wildflowers, just vibes. I love this. And I'm cleaning up the tops of these petals. Those are the things we're going to notice later. This one maybe is a little long. I don't think that bothers me though. I'm going to leave that. I know you might be tempted to throw in these centers on everything, but I would say don't do it yet. But while I have a pencil, I will show you what we're going to do with our crayon soon. And that is, we're going to go from end to end, but follow a curve. So it'd be like, we'll look at this one. Okay, right about here it curves. So the crayon will go up here and curve to the right. I'm showing it to you with pencil because you won't be able to see the crayon. I'm sorry, it's true. But you'll be so glad you used it. It just adds really nice dimension. You could also use masking fluid. There's lots of ways to do things. This is just how we're doing it here today. Okay, I like it. I'm taking a second to make sure that I like it. This is another example. This one won't matter because we're not doing it with the white crayon. So you can do a center down this petal to help you understand that shape. Same thing here. Anything that you want to make you understand it. So when you go in with paint, you feel good about it. Oh, the other thing I wanted to sketch just a little bit is maybe on here, on this guy in the back. It's just got, you know, it is petals all together like this. Okay, they're kind of overlapping each other as they do. So we would see these lines coming through. So, you know, it's going to follow that curve a little bit and go up to the top, basically. Same thing here. You could do that with white crayon or pencil or both. But now I like how it just pulls it together. It makes it look more finished to me, which I really like. Okay, cool. Look at your drawing. Get out that eraser, get rid of anything you don't like, touch up anything you do like or want to like better. This is when it matters to take a pause and look at it. If you don't like it now, it's just this with color. Make sure you like it here. It's always, always, always worth it. If you wanted to write down what kind of flower this is, we can do that right here. I wish my pencil was just a little bit sharper, but pale pink lily. And I'm gonna write that down. Maybe you do a cursive. Pale pink lily, and lily is 1L. Pale pink lily. Cute, right? We'll get out our crayon. We are finishing up the sketch on this one. If your crayon isn't sharp, you might want to sharpen it. This is fine. And we're going to go up. Look at it one last time. Up those centers, looking at where does that curve. Where does it curve? Right here it curves. This one curves here. See, it comes over, curves down. I'm showing you here because when I do this in a minute, you won't really be able to see it. Over here, where does it curve? About here, up and over. Okay, tuck it back and let's do it. Make sure you're pressing firmly and you remember where you start from. So I'm going to start with the one on top and I'll work clockwise. I'm going to try to get behind these just a little, pressing one line, curving it over to the top. Next one. I love the use of a white crayon. I think it's really fun. But you can't paint over it later. So that's just the thing to keep in mind. If you do masking fluid, you can lift it off later, but masking fluid is just not, we're not getting into that in this series. Now, if you intentionally lift your white crayon somewhere, you would have a broken line, and that might be lovely. Here we go. Oh, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna pause right here. Know what I just noticed? I actually wanted this one in front. Do you see that? I noticed it as I was doing this. So this is really kind of a good time to be able to go over your work. I like that curve on top. Okay, so that means this white line had to stop sooner. And as I was looking, I'm always looking at my reference. I noticed it right there. So that's why that just happened. I really like seeing this line all the way through. So I'm gonna try to get it as much as I can, you know, behind these centers. Okay, I want one line through the bud. Okay, so I'm getting that one in there. Maybe a beginning of a second line. I don't want it anywhere else. I feel really good about that. I don't want it on my stems. I want to be able to paint these later. And when you do white crayon, you can't paint over it. So don't add it anywhere else unless you want it to be white later on. You guys, I think we did it. So I will see you at our next video where we use our watercolor paints to paint the pale pink lily.